Okay. How many do we have in the call now? Are we good to start?
Yes, sir. We still have some persons. We have about 2 persons about to join us.
Okay,
so
sure.
far, yeah, we have
let's give it about 3 more minutes or so, and then we start at 10 minutes past.
Okay, sir.
And then they can always join and catch up. We don't want to waste this time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good morning. I can't hear you.
Okay, good morning, madam.
Yeah, we're just waiting for 1 more minute, and then we're going to start at 10 minutes past. We have a lot of parents still to join, so it's going to give them a little bit more time. And we're going to start in exactly 1 minute. Apologies for the delay. Okay, I think we should start now. It's 10 minutes past 10. And as more parents join, then they can just pick up from where we are. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're going to try to be fairly brief and punchy with what we're doing. We respect your time, and we don't want to keep you for too long. We're going to give a very brief presentation about Solynta Academy, who we are, our brief history, who the people behind the company are, and what we're trying to do here, what our operations are all about, and what our vision and mission is. And then we're going to open the floor to any questions that you may have. So please, if you have questions, as I'm speaking, just type them into the chat. And at the end of the presentation, I'll then go through each question in turn. Of course, we'll also give people a chance to kind of put their hand up and ask questions as well, if they prefer that. So, okay, thank you guys. And I'm going to start by just sharing my screen so we can make it easier to follow along as I'm presenting. Okay. Okay, and can everyone just confirm that they can actually see my screen and they can hear me as well?
Yes, I can see your screen and I can hear you.
Awesome, thank you, madam. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'll start with a brief introduction of myself. My name is Uvier Ugono. I'm the founder and CEO of Solynta Academy. I'm also the chief technology officer, and that I built the system myself end to end. Took about a year, and it's built, and it basically has been working now for almost 2 years. Very brief history. I've got 3 daughters. one of whom is currently at university in the UK, age 21, and I have two younger daughters, 14 and 11. About 2 years ago, my two younger daughters, then 12 and 9, were at a good, seemingly good local school here in where we live, in the Shangotodo axis of Lagos. And I became very perturbed as to the quality of the education that they were receiving. This was a school where they were doing exceptionally well. They were top of every class, every award ceremony. To put into perspective, at the end of year exams, where they have the huge presentations, they each came top in every single subject. 12 out of 13 subjects, they're both at top the entire year group. And the only subjects that were not topping, Igbo language and Yoruba language, neither of whom were native speakers in. But the challenge that we found was the way in which the teaching was being done, or rather the way in which the kids were being taught. It became very obvious to me that whereas my eldest daughter went to a British school, my younger daughters were going to a Nigerian school, albeit a good school, and the gap in the teaching and the methodology of teaching was what really alarmed us. Kids were not being taught, they were just copying from the board. And so the kids would go into class every single day, there'll be no teaching being done, they'll just post some notes on the board and they'll spend the whole lesson copying down the notes. And then the poor kids would come home and they spend 2 hours every day trying to learn the notes that they've learned. And so I realized that this was a completely broken system. Raised it with the school, and they said, oh, this is how everyone does it, this is the way it is. And it was just completely unacceptable. So I decided there and then to pull my children out of school and homeschool them instead, whilst I built an AI-powered system that would be able to do it end to end. And so actually when we first built this system, it wasn't built as a product to sell. It was built as a solution to the educational issues that we had with our own kids. The results have been miraculous, tremendous, awesome. And we said, right, we have to offer this to the wider public. And so here it is. We've been operating for about a year, online only. Of course, we listened to the feedback of the parents, which was, we want a physical location where the kids can be taken to, where they can learn. We love the learning, it works really well, but it's not practical for us to do it as a homeschool solution. We need a physical location. And so that's what we've built here. So I'm going to go through the presentation and hope it begins to make some sense. So we're now doing this more rigorous AI-powered school at a center near you or from home. So we have built centers. We are setting up centers all around Lagos, close to our parents and the pupils, where they can take their children into the care of a teacher. They have their device and they're able to learn the curriculum at an extremely high level with the AI as a personalized tutor for every single child. So who are we? We're a Nigerian.
Hello, sir. Can you hear us? Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think the network is from his end.
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear us, right?
Yeah, we lost you at some point, sir.
Okay, sure. So okay, cool. If you lose me, just give me a shout so I can know. Because otherwise I won't know. All right, thank you. Okay, so we teach the official curriculum that's stipulated by the NERDC. What we've done is we've taken that curriculum and we've trained a PhD level AI agent on this curriculum, and we've taught it how to teach it to our students. And so what it does is it teaches every child on a personalized basis. So it's not a general lesson one for all. It takes the curriculum, it takes the child, it identifies the level of that child, and it teaches the curriculum to that child in an interactive manner, which is highly engaging for the children. And that's why we're seeing the huge results and improvement that we are seeing. The vision is very, very simple. The world that we live in today is not just about getting outstanding exam results. That is a given, and that is to be expected. We expect all of our students to be in the 98th percentile in the whole of Nigeria. In other words, we expect that all of our students are going to score in the top 2% of all students in Nigeria. We see that as being very easy to do. We see it as we have an unfair advantage because they are being taught by the highest quality teacher that we have anywhere in the world. That's inevitable. But what we're really doing is preparing them for life after education. Ultimately speaking, what we need in this country are job creators. We need professionals who have the ability to implement the strategies that are there to create the jobs and create prosperity for all. We are training ultimately our children to be those people. So they're not just doing book work for the sake of book work. We combine a very rigorous academic program with practical skills around building businesses, not just learning how to code, but actually building software and then utilizing that software in their own business to begin to generate revenues. And we expect our children in more senior years to be able to do this. So it's a strong education enhanced for the future. As I said, full WIAC and JAM alignment is mapped to the syllabus. We focus on mastery before progression. So our system is all about making sure that the child actually understands what's being taught and not just moving them along without engaging in what the issues are. And the thing I'm most proud of in the way we operate is that it is completely data-driven. Every single lesson that the child does in the system is tracked and logged by the system, every lesson. And at the end of each lesson, which comprises of 3 parts, a diagnostic to get the child's level, then they have the lesson itself, and at the end of each lesson, they have a 10-question quiz to test their knowledge and understanding of that lesson. And then they submit it. Once that lesson is submitted, they have their lesson notes automatically saved in the system. So they can see their lesson notes, and it gives a complete summary of what they learned, what they did well, what they didn't do so well, what the gaps are, what they need to work on, and it also sets them their homework based on their lesson. Very, very powerful, data-driven way of teaching a child. At the end of every week, the system automatically generates a comprehensive weekly report, which shows every lesson that they did by subject and what the overall performance was, both within each subject itself and also the overall summary. What we're doing is we're tracking the child's progress one lesson at a time. And it creates a very, very powerful map of exactly where that child is versus the expected level of performance. So when I said earlier that it's very easy for the kids to pass the exams, is because we can literally see on a day-by-day basis exactly where they are in terms of where the system expects them to be. So we can predict with a very high degree of accuracy how each child is both doing and how they're going to do. All of these lessons will be sent to parents automatically. So the weekly report goes out on Friday automatically to your email address or to your WhatsApp, and you can just see what your child is doing every single day. If you want to be more detailed, you can even log into your child's system on a day-by-day basis. You can be at work and just log in on your phone and see, oh, they've done 3 lessons so far. Here's how they've done. Here's what their score is, etc. So we give you total and utter visibility on what's happening within your child's learning day. And finally, we have teachers. We have live teaching guys. Mr. Oben is one of our teachers. These are teachers who are present either on site, where if it's a physical location, or online if a child is keyed into our online school. The job of the teacher is not to teach the child, but is to guide, manage, encourage, inspire, and keep order and discipline within the classroom to ensure that every single child is doing what they're supposed to do. They're not having any challenges. If they have any questions, the teacher is there to help them with that. And so what you create is an environment where the child is driving their learning under the watchful eye of a qualified classroom teacher. This system is extremely powerful because what it does is it makes learning something that the child themselves is initiating, as opposed to the current system where a child just sits in the classroom, 1 of 30, the teacher is teaching at the front, they don't have a clue what's being said, and they just drift in their minds. And we just put them through year after year after year, and they're learning absolutely nothing. We've said, no, we're going to solve that problem using technology that is scalable and also is done in a way that it can reduce the cost of education drastically for the parents. Our standard day runs from like 7:30 a.m. to about 2 p.m. I've talked about a personalized system. The AI personalizes the lessons for every child. It adapts to each child and it adjusts the level of difficulty in real time based on how they're performing. So based on how, if they're doing it, let's say it's a math lesson on algebra and for JSS 3, and the AI agent and the AI tutor detects that the child is actually quite weak on algebra, it will now go back and say, right, let's go back and work on some basic principles of algebra and take the student back up from that level all the way back to where they're supposed to be. So you don't have the situation where you get kids, we see it practically every day, you see kids at SSS 2, 3 level, and they have the understanding of a primary 4 student. They've gone through all of those years of education, and they've essentially learned nothing. That's what we're solving. We're making sure that every child is at the level or above the level that they're supposed to be. And we've built the system, we haven't pegged it to the Nigerian system, we've pegged it to the world system. So when our children graduate, not only will they have got top grades in Nigeria, but they would have achieved a level far above the level set for the Nigerian kids and actually comparable with the Finnish system, the Chinese system, the Singaporean system, and the Taiwanese system, which are the best education systems in the world. We've already built that into the system to make sure that our children are as competitive and they become the ones who go on to build the companies that will change this country from where it is today, a developing country, into where we all hope and believe it will be one day, a developed country. We're not all about academics. There's more to life than just the academics. They have to be applied into real things. So alongside their studies, we focus on 3 key things which are critical, particularly in the world of artificial intelligence, for every child. First of all, you have to have entrepreneurial foundations. Everything ultimately comes down to business. How do we turn this knowledge into products or services that are going to render value, deliver value to customers, and create jobs and create wealth and prosperity in the process? At the end of the day, that's the reason why we go to school. That's the point of education, to create a workforce that has the capacity to fit into the world of business and therefore create wealth. We don't do it just for the sake of doing it. We do it to essentially drive the economy forward. So we focus on the entrepreneurial foundations. We focus on building real things. So once they get to age 10 to 13, they start to build actual software. And if we have time at the end, we can actually give you a brief demonstration of the current summer program that we're running and the Easter program we ran during the Easter period, where we took children who had never even used a computer before. And in 2 weeks, or in this summer, 3 weeks, they've come up with a business idea themselves, refined that idea, built functioning, working software, and then presented that software. That was done in Easter. Because it was 2 weeks, we just focused on, at Easter, we focused on just ideation, business creation, refinement, and then pitching it. They pitched their businesses at the end to the parents. For the summer program, we go one step further. They actually go and then create a business off of what they've actually run in 1 week. Just a summary where they've come up with the business model, identified where who they will sell it to, what the key target audience is, what the market size is. They then create their pitch deck and their business plan. And at the end of the process, they then pitch it all to the parents and people who've been invited to the pitch. So we don't treat these children like they're children. We treat the children not based on the capacity of their brains, which is extremely high for children. So what we say is by the time our children leave school, let's say 16, 17, 18, they'll be running real businesses alongside their studies. Not only will they be top of their classes because they have a superior advantage compared to their peers, but at the same time, they will also be running businesses that they actually created as part of their studies. So when we teach business studies, we don't just teach it as a theory, we also make them actually run a business as well, because there's no better way to learn about something than by doing it. So we think of ourselves and we call ourselves the world's first business school for children. We're producing business leaders who are going to be the ones that solve the problems of Nigeria and the problems of Africa. I strongly believe that our problems can all be solved through technology and business. So when you combine technology and business, you will solve all the problems that we have. But because of the world that we live in today, IQ, intelligence, becomes extremely important. We must raise the average IQ of our students through the education system. So we don't just teach them to pass an exam. We don't just teach to a test, which is what the education system in Nigeria does. We teach them for understanding, not only of subject matter expertise, but understanding of how those subjects fit into the real world. And not only there, but then actually put those subjects into practice to actually build companies and develop products. So at the end of their studies, they have something tangible to show for it. Yes, I got all A's, fantastic. But in addition to that, here's the business I've been running for the last 2 years. I'm generating 150,000 naira a month in revenues. I'm solving so and so many problems. I have so and so many companies, so and so many customers. They have something tangible to show the world that generates income for them. We are not training these kids to go and start handing out CVs. We're training these kids to be the people who create the jobs that other people hand CVs to. Very simply, we have two ways of learning. We launched our online school last September 2025. We've just graduated our first cohort, and that we pay, that's a standard fee of 80,000 naira per term. And now we're launching starting next month, we're launching our learning centers, where these are physical locations where parents can go and drop their kids off. And the pricing for that, you can see what we do there. It's everything in the home learning experience. Plus, you find a center near you, run by Solynta. So we're creating a network. Stuff like meals, pastoral care, and on-site guides. Meals, for example, is an added cost, but pastoral care and on-site guides is exactly what we provide. Every location has at least one teacher, one full-time classroom teacher who's managing and guiding the students as they go through their rigorous education. Every site has power, security, sanitation, first aid, all of the things that you would expect and are indeed required by the state government before they give you the approval to run these systems. And it starts from 65,000 naira per term. We have a sliding scale of prices, and the prices are based on location. Ultimately speaking, if you're learning in a physical location, then the cost of that education is primarily driven not by the cost of teachers, but by the cost of rent or property. So we have 3 areas. The value areas, or we call tier 3, the likes of Agege, Ikorodu, Egbeda, etc. Those areas, the school fees are 65,000 for primary school, 95,000 for secondary school. That's per term. Mid-market, mid-level, like where I am right now, Changotodo falls into the mid-level. It's 120k and 160k per term per student. And for the premium areas, your Lekki Phase 1, VI, Koi, those kind of areas, it's 200,000. In fact, that's changed actually. That's 160 per term. It's 160 per term primary, and it's 200K per term secondary. Work from home, if you're doing from home, it's a flat 80K. In addition, there's a one-time infrastructure fee, which applies in term 1, which is 35,000 naira per child. It's a one-time fee, doesn't reoccur. You need a laptop or a device to learn, and we know that a lot of parents don't necessarily have devices. So we've partnered with a finance company based in Victoria Island to provide devices to parents on credit, and they can pay anywhere over 6 months to 24 months. We don't add any profit to it. It's purely at cost price. And we've also been able to find providers who can provide laptops, conditioned quality used laptops for 100,000 naira a unit. So again, if a parent just says, "Oh, I don't have a laptop for my kids," we just source the laptops for them, and you just pay a little bit extra on your termly or monthly payment plan if you offer that to cover the use of the laptop. And once the laptop is paid off, it's yours to keep. But whilst the payment plan is in process, those devices have to remain on site, on premises, until they're finally paid off. And then finally, we have a 10% sibling discount. So if you're enrolling 3 children, the first child pays the full fee, and the second and third children, they get 10% off each. That doesn't apply to the infrastructure fee. It only applies to the school fees themselves. And if you go onto our website, you can just check your area and see what the fees are. Just see which category you fall into, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, please do.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that enlightenment. At this point, to the parents, please, if you have any questions or concerns, you're free to ask the CEO himself. I'll just finish this presentation.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, my question is, my child is in SS1, but I'm trying to find out the location. But I don't know the Egbeda address because I want to visit there myself to make the inquiry.
Where were you based, madam?
I stay at Moshalashi, close to Moshalashi, Yanapaja area. But not to Egbeda,
yeah. Okay, so what we do, so we have, I don't have the full list of all the addresses, but we have about 10 or 11 locations so far. And what we do is, so what our team does, they're not on the call at the moment, but what our team does, just a second. Where am I? Am I live on another call? So can you hear me?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, sure. Apologies. Yeah, so I said that. So what you do, if you just drop your details in the chat and your location, then what I'll do as soon as this call is over, I'll send it to our office team, and what they do is they match location. They match parents to nearest locations. So we're doing 2 things at the same time. One is we're obviously signing up parents, and at the same time we're also signing up like properties. We're getting properties to actually use. And so a lot of the work that we do, we currently have 11 properties currently confirmed across Lagos. I'll have to check the exact locations of each. But even at that, where we have parents who are in a particular location, but we don't yet have a facility, then we're basically getting properties in those locations to match the two together. And it's a very effective process. So please, if you just drop your name in the chat along with your location, and also please as well write in your nearest landmark, because we actually do matching based on the GPS coordinates. So yeah, so just drop your name, full name, your location, and the nearest landmark, like by so and so bus stop, or by ShopRite, or whatever the case may be, or by so and so church. Just put a nearest landmark, And then we will use that landmark to map exactly what your nearest center is. And then, of course, we then get back to you straight away. That's how we operate.
Okay,
Awesome. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your question.
you're welcome.
Okay, so there are some questions in the chat.
Okay.
Someone is asking, Royalty Duke is asking if there are uniforms, if uniforms are required.
I didn't, so if there were what's required, infants.
Uniforms, yeah, school uniforms. School uniforms.
Uniforms. Oh, yeah, fantastic question. Yes, there are. So we actually, our students designed it. Let me see if I can show it to you. So we haven't confirmed the price just yet. Again, it's going to be at cost price. So please bear in mind, when we sell stuff like uniforms, we don't add anything at all. We're currently sourcing from we send it out to some tailors to get the price points back. But let me actually show you the uniform. And we've kept it very, very simple. We are very cost conscious. It's just polo shirts and bottoms. You can have just basically black trousers or black skirts, and I'm sure most kids already have that anyway. But we buy a polo, it's like a polo shirt for the boys and girls. And then we have a PE uniform as well. Just give me a second and I will just pull it up for you. Just a second, just bear with me, please. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and just show it to you. So I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
So this is the uniform. This was designed by two of our students. We gave it to them as a project. So this is Monday to Thursday. They wear a nice polo designed here. That's the front, that's the back. And then for the girls, they wear a black skirt, and for the boys, they wear black trousers. Now we're not going to provide the black trousers or the black skirts because I'm sure you can get it from anywhere really. So we just we'll provide you with the cost for these polo shirts. And then on Friday, we're putting Friday sportswear. The kids will do like physical activities on Fridays, and this is the kit for that as well. Like I said, the price we'll have full pricing by next week. I just want to get the quotes from the tailors, and then have a real deep interview with them, get references and that kind of thing before we come back and say here's the price points, because we want to be sure we're getting the best quality and at the most affordable price point. So if you give us for next week, we'll have the answer in terms of price for you.
Okay, my question again. Do you write WAEC in your school? Is it government approved?
Yeah, absolutely, yes it is. So all the exams are written. I'll make the point again, I made it earlier, and it's really important.
Okay.
Every single school in Nigeria does the same exam. It's not the schools that set the exams, it's the government. Or rather, it's the government under the auspices of the NERDC that sets the curriculum. The government basically goes out and says, what should we be doing for our people? What does our economy need? And what do we need to have our people be able to do? They set the curriculum. And then when they set the curriculum, they send it out, or they say to every school, go onto our website, get the curriculum, and create your lessons according to this curriculum. Every school does the same thing. And then the only difference is we will allow you to sit exams in a school. So all a school actually is just an exam center.
Exactly.
With our kids, we will, again, all the admin in terms of exam centers, we will just tell you, here's the nearest center for your child to go and sit their exam. All the administration we will all do, just like if they were in a regular school. So the answer is yes, all the main exams, WAEC would be done, junior WAEC would be done, and all the tracking tools that would be done. There is literally no difference whether your child is learning online, whether they're learning within a one of our learning centers, and whether they're going to a regular school. They're all studying this for the same exam papers and sitting the same exam papers.
Okay, I sent a question in. I don't know if it's been seen. I sent a question.
Yes, that's Sanami George. Pardon me if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Sanami George. She's asking if how long the school has been in existence.
So we're going into our second year. So we started we started unofficially. We started unofficially in January 2025. So unofficially, we started in January 2025. The first two students were my daughters, and then we started officially in September 2025. So we've just completed our first full academic session. We had our graduation ceremony last month, and that's purely for the online school. We have students in Lagos, in Enugu, in Anambra, and we're continuing to expand thereafter. So we're now entering into our second academic session, but this is the first session from physical locations. So our first year was just digital, but this year we're going into the physical locations as well.
So I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question. So like after the WAEC, the JAMB, then the end of year session party, as in graduation party, is it in the school the child will be assigned to write the WAEC?
No, we organize it for all the branches in one location. So our end of year party will be at one physical location. We're currently only covering Lagos. So we're going to have one large kind of location event at one physical location, which is centrally located for everybody. So it's not where they're studying, to be a separate location that can hold the numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
good
okay. Morning.
Sure, go on, sir.
Yeah, please, I want to ask, outside the federal or state approved curriculum, which other curriculums you guys use to teach? Like British or?
Yes, it's a great question. So we actually also, we currently serve 3 curricula. The Nigerian curriculum for NERDC, the Cambridge curriculum for those that want to go the UK path, and we also have the curriculum for all 50 states in the United States, and we've been approved for I think 7 of those already so far. So we have the full range of curricula that we basically focus on. So it's of course it's up to the child, it's up to the parents. If the parent wants their child to sit and study for the UK curriculum under Cambridge, they can, but that is more expensive because not on the teaching side, but on the exam side. Because remember, the way it works is once you sit the curriculum, but then you have to pay the exam fee to go and sit the exams. So it's exactly the same way as it works for Nigeria. You complete the exam and then you sit the exam. You complete the studies, then you pay the exam fee to WAEC, and you pay the exam fee for the physical location. It's the same thing with Cambridge, but their fees are way higher. Like it could be in the hundreds of pounds per subject. So that's the reason why it only tends to be expensive schools that offer it. But yes, your child is absolutely free to do that if you so wish. And for clarity and for transparency, both of my daughters are actually doing the UK curriculum with us, not the Nigerian.
Okay, so Royal Duke is asking if there are school buses available.
Transportation is indeed available. So we run a separate business called Solynta Flow, where we basically match jobs to people. So in every location where parents want a bus or transportation, that will be arranged. Yes. Again, the pricing we have to confirm. At the time we don't know. There's different locations, but yes, that would be there. Okay. Before I forget,
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, go on, madam.
Okay, I want to verify now. Since this thing is online schooling, I wanted to confirm because since it's a foreign body that is handling the issue, they're supposed to be like a free lance that after the secondary level in education, they should be like a free level to people that want to go to that want to study abroad for probably their BSc or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're
So
supposed to be like a gateway, just like you said. People that is you have schools in America, you have places they can go to in America or in Canada
yeah,
or something. So I don't understand that
yes,
side of. You said it's a bit higher or something. Is it not
sure,
like a
sure.
go to? I'm
I
sorry.
do.
It's not like a gateway to, like, since is an online and a foreign body that owns the school, is a gateway for students that are done with their probably secondary education to go, probably a free scholarship for them, or a scholarship, like a gateway for them to study abroad.
Okay, great question. Let me clarify something. So first of all, we're Nigerian based. We're not foreign based. We're based in Lagos in Nigeria. We're a Nigerian registered company. So that's the first point to clarify. Now, second point, we're both online and physical. So we offer both of those. But your question is a fantastic question. And what you're asking is, for those, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're asking is, for those students who do the Nigerian curriculum, do we offer the gateway program that allows them to convert to then apply for a foreign university? Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, we haven't done it yet, but we will. That would clearly be one of the things that is in place. So for everyone on the call who perhaps doesn't necessarily know how it works, I'll explain very briefly. In the UK system, we do what's called GCSEs, or if you're doing it internationally, it's called IGCSEs. That's offered by Cambridge. Cambridge is an exam board in the UK. So you do the Cambridge qualification. You sit for the Cambridge exams. You find your nearest accredited exam centers in Nigeria. You sit the exam. You pay the exam fee, sit the exam, and your papers are sent off to the UK to be marked. You get your grades. Now, if you're following the UK system, in the UK, after your GCSEs, which is at the end of at age 16, you then have to do A levels or international baccalaureate. So there's a further 2 years of study at the end of your GCSEs before you start university. So you cannot start university before the age of 18 in the UK, or in America, or in Canada. So you then have a 2-year period where you have to then do an additional qualification. In the case of my daughter, she did the International Baccalaureate, or the IB, at Green Springs School, where she also did her GCSEs. After doing the IB or the A levels, then you go off to university. And so you know, literally, I think it was on 2 days ago, the A level results in the UK were released. And so now all the kids are now getting their confirmed place at the university. That happens at the A level standard, which is above the GCSE standard, 2 further years. In Nigeria, we don't have that. So in Nigeria, students sit for the WAEC exam, which is actually below the GCSE exam, and they go straight to university from there. So the entrance level to get into a Nigerian university is much, much lower than the equivalent for a UK or a Canadian or an American university. And so because of that, you can't, a Nigerian student cannot get into a UK or foreign university just off of their WAEC. They have to do another program, which is a bridge program, into being able to now sit for the equivalent of an A level or an IB. So you cannot. So let's take the UK for example. You cannot enter a UK university if you don't either have A levels or international baccalaureate. And they will set your entrance exam. You must have, based on whichever course you're doing. If you're doing, say, economics at Warwick University, which is one of the best universities for economics, you need like 3 A's at A level, or you need like 40 points in the IB. That's the entry standard for UK universities, period, regardless. The bridge program that we're talking about is a bridge that is really bridging the gap between the WAEC and the GCSEs. So you can't start an A level until you're basically at the level of a GCSE. So it's normally a 1-year bridge program. When they finish the bridge, when they finish their WIAC studies, and they then decide, oh, actually, I don't want to go to a Nigerian university. I want to go to a foreign one instead. Perfect. They then do a 1-year bridge course, which kind of like upgrades their WIAC to the equivalent of a GCSE. And then after that 1 year, they then pick their pathway. They then either say, okay, I want to do A levels. You do 3 A levels, the individual subjects, or you do the much more rigorous international baccalaureate, which is a program where you kind of have to get a score. And that takes 2 years. So if you want to go the Nigerian route into getting to a UK university, you finish at 17 or 16 or whatever the case may be. Then you do 1 year of a bridge to get you up to GCSE level or IGCSE level. Then you do 2 more years, either of an A level or of an IB. And if you get the requisite grades, then you can get entry into a UK university. And the reason why you have to do the bridge is because to apply to any UK, I'm using the UK, that's what I know. You know, I'm from the UK, I know the UK. You must have a minimum of 5 GCSEs, including math and English. That's the minimum requirement, minimum of 5. So the bridge program from WIAC to GCSEs is so that they meet that minimum qualification of saying, oh yes, I have 5 GCSEs or equivalent, including math and English. Without that 1 year bridge, they're not going to let you in, because in fact, no one will even let you do the A level or the IB if you don't have that anyway. And so the answer to your question is, it's a very long-winded way of saying, yes, we actually do offer it, but I wanted to just give some background so we don't lose people. I hope that answered the question clearly, madam.
Yes, so my second question is, I knew of somebody that I just wanted to correct one expression which you said. You said Nigeria studies, as in people that studied, that did WIAC, it's not to the grade of UK standard, because I knew of when I was growing up, you understand, I knew of somebody that that is in SS1 in Nigeria standard that sits for foreign university, like A-level, TOEFL, SAT, and all that, and A-level courses, and actually went through and had good grades.
I agree with you, madam. I agree with you, madam, but I'm going to guess, excuse me, I'm going to guess that you're over 40. Am I right?
Yes, I'm just talking about my children, but I'm talking about myself when I was growing up. You understand?
Correct. That's what I'm talking about, madam. I'm saying Nigeria's education system used to be on a par with the UK.
Okay.
For a long time, during the 1970s, there was no difference. They were interchangeable. You could move, you could do your schooling in Nigeria and go straight into a university in the UK. They were basically the same standard. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case. We all know, everyone who's been here, we've seen a collapse in education standards over the last 40 years. This isn't a thing of just now. It just is the case. My deceased parents were the same thing. Both of my parents who've now sadly passed on to glory, they both moved. They both moved to England off of the back of their studies in Nigeria. It was very, very. In fact, they actually got there on a scholarship. There was no difference between the Nigerian system and the UK system. We used to have foreigners who used to come to Nigeria for studies. We had the Arab countries. The Arabs used to come to Nigeria to study for their kids. We had Ghanaians, Kenyans. Nigeria was a center of academic excellence for a long time. But sadly, yeah, it's no longer the case.
Okay, so sorry. I have another question. At what level of the standard do you people start teaching A level? Like you said GC, when you started if you are doing GC, at what level do you start teaching your students A level, how to train themselves in case they want to do an A level? At what level?
So we don't. So we don't currently offer the A level teaching. A level is after the WIAC or the GCSE level. At the moment, and we're going to offer it, but at the moment we don't yet offer that. What I'm talking about here is the bridge. What you're talking about is the bridge. Before you start the A level, there's a minimum standard you have to hit. not set by us, set by the UK system. That minimum standard is a standard that means that you are the equivalent of a minimum of 5 GCSEs. And you should know, I mean, I have a kind of family members who's going through this process now and friends in the UK. Even when you've done even when you do your GCSEs, there are certain levels that you have to hit, or you can't even do certain courses. So the way it works today is, for example, if you don't get a math grade A, it automatically prevents you from doing certain programs. That's in the UK today. We have family for whom this is actually affected. So the bar is being raised all the while. And so on that bridge, so what you're referring to is that bridge. What you're referring to is when a child completes the WAEC in Nigeria and they want to be able to go to the UK and enter the UK system, what do we help them to do? We have the bridge system. It's a 1-year program which takes them from the WAEC level to a level that is sufficient to gain entry into a UK university when they refer back to your GCSEs. Because when you go into, because you're going to do your A levels, for example, but it won't just be, oh, I got my 3 A levels, oh, but I don't have any GCSEs. You won't be admitted. You have to have a minimum of 5 GCSEs or equivalent before you can be entered. So what we do is we do that after the WAEC. You're converting the WAEC effectively into a GCSE. So that happens. It's a 1-year program after the child has sat and passed their WAEC exams. I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what the rules say, and this is how it works.
Okay. Because I know what I'm asking. Now, my another question I wanted to ask is, do you redraw students? Like now, we are in Nigeria now. Do you redraw students if a child?
I've lost you, madam.
I just enrolled in your school. Do you withdraw child, like some students, they are finding it very hard to pick up, maybe because of the accent, maybe because of where the child is coming from, the school the child is coming from, and that parents find it it's better, it's a little bit fair for my child to go to those schools, and the child is finding it very hard to pick up, to match with your standard, maybe your British accent or probably the environment and all that, and the child is not performing very well, and the child did it for like 1 year, is still trying to struggle and is not making out good grades out of your school. Do school withdraw the child, or probably advise, when you're in a high institution and a course is you're being like not passing very well, the school will advise you to withdraw, or sometimes they'll put the student on probation, like we are still checking to know whether he can pick up, and that person is not picking up. Do you school withdraw a child if a child is not performing very well?
No, it's a brilliant question. Thank you for asking that question. And this is one of the major differences between the way we teach and the way regular schools teach. The answer is no. If you remember what I said in my presentation, the entire system has been built to personalize the education. So there's no such thing as the child isn't picking up. People are not stupid. So long as a human being is not mentally handicapped and they're a child, they have the capacity for massive learning. I always say there's no such thing as a dumb child. There's only a teaching system that hasn't favored them in the way that they actually learn. One of the major things that makes this way of learning so effective is that it doesn't teach all kids in exactly the same way. We see this all the time. If you take a typical, take JSS 3. If you take a typical JSS 3 cohort today in Nigeria, and you tested those kids, what you would find is some of them are at primary 1 level, some are at primary 2 level, some are primary 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And you might find that maybe only 10% of those children are actually at JSS 1 level. 90% of those, and maybe you might find that 5% of them are actually above JSS 3 level. But 85% of those kids are below that level. That's why children struggle. Because that struggle didn't just start in JSS 3. It started in primary 1, but it was never picked up, you see. What this system does is it takes you to your level and brings you up from there. If a child is in JSS 3, for example, and the child can't do basic algebra, if the AI needs to take them back to 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, it will go back there to bring them back up, because all learning is sequential. What you learn in JSS 3 is based on what you learned in JSS 2, which is based on JSS 1 and all the way down. So if you have a child in JSS 3 level and they're trying to learn at JSS 3 level, but they never really understood or learned it in primary 3, you can't expect that child to suddenly be performing very, very well. That's the biggest problem with the education system in Nigeria. There is no teaching taking place. You have to teach the children to their level, at their level, so they understand the basic concepts. My greatest joy is when I see kids just get it. When you suddenly understand that, and I don't want to start to talk about religion and my personal beliefs, but when you understand where God is and how God shows himself in the world, you can't stop seeing it. It's everywhere. It's all in the systems. Every single system you see around you is based off of the same basic principles. Everything. So how do you build a business? How do you build a country off of those same basic principles? You have to teach those basic principles from the beginning. We're not doing that. So kids are struggling later on. They then lose interest. They then drop out, etc. So no, madam, absolutely not. We do not put kids on probation. If a child is not ready to sit in the exam, we'll say to you, we don't think this child is ready for the exam. But we won't have to preach it to you. We'll just show you the data. Well, you as a parent, you will see. It's not by me telling you or my teachers telling you. No. I always say, trust the data. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. We'll just show you the numbers. Here's the data. Here's the level that they're at. Here's where they're supposed to be. We don't, at this basic level right now, if the child sits this exam, they're likely going to fail. It's up to you. They can do another year to get them ready, or they can take their chances. It's up to you. But this is our predicted grade that this child is going to get. It's not based on our opinions. It's not based on my accent. It's based on the data. It is absolutely brilliant. So the answer is no. If your child, and I'm going to say, well, if your child is diligent and they have good parental support, I can pretty much guarantee that they won't only pass, but they will pass on top of their class. It's easy. My daughter, my youngest daughter is primary 6. She's learning the UK curriculum, or just finished primary 6. She's doing the UK curriculum. She saw one of her friends who just done the junior WIEC exam. And she said, oh, Daddy, this is super easy. She can pass those exams without sitting for the exams because the level that they're being taught at is just so much higher than what even the curriculum demands they get taught at. What we're doing is we're basically trying to get these children to be really, really smart. Once you unlock a child's thinking, it becomes easy for them. We actually look forward to getting those kids who have been struggling. What I always say to my staff is, and my team, it's wonderful. There's no greater evidence than the parents saying, you know what? My child was kicked out of regular school, or they were written off as regular school, and now here they are building computer games. At this juncture, we actually have one of our parents who just had a graduating child for this last session. I'd like her to just come in and give her own just free testimony about what we do. You know, I'm sure her voice will be better understood and better accepted than my own, because she's actually a paying parent. So please, Anita, if you're on the call, if you could just come in and just speak on it, just let people know what your experience has been, and we'll take it from there.
Sorry, before that. Okay.
Oh, sure, do go ahead.
Okay, I'm so sorry because a lot of question is just bumping into my head because I am this kind of person. I want clarification because if I'm in, I'm in. Now I wanted to know because I'm not deviating from the question you're asking. I wanted to verify something. Now, what is the rate of change of increment in your school fees? Because you know our Nigerian, by the time since you people just came into existence, just as I said,
Yes.
everybody wants to come in. You understand? Everybody like because the fee is fair, this thing is fair. It's a nice school, it's a British accent and all that, a lot of things that comes in. But Nigeria sectors, there's something that they always want to like capitalize on. Oh yes, we've gotten enough students. We are using this amount to drag them, and the next thing you just slam us.
Hike up the price.
Yes, add up the price. So, and that is why, because the school my child is going is just like equivalent to your own standard. So I'm just saying that what is the rate of increments? Like what year, what section do you people increase? Not like when we come in, we pay this amount. The next thing you say, due to this, due to the maintenance and all that, and the next thing we're hereby the school fees now will now be 500,000, 200,000, and the next thing you now leave the parents that already budgeted for like the next 5 years or 4 years of increment, and you now put out into disarray. So
Sure, it's a great question.
I'm sorry, I'm asking because the way the question is coming in, I have a child, I have children, so I always want my children to go to one particular school so that they can familiarize with themselves. You understand? So that's why I'm asking the increment. How do you people increase school fees based on the time people started?
It is our objective to keep the school fees as flat as is realistically possible. What do I mean by that? I mean, we seek never to increase our profit margin. And I'll be completely transparent with you. We have two major drivers of cost. One is the exchange rate between the Naira and the dollar. Why? Because our software, the actual AI, is priced in dollars. We pay in USD. We're paid that cost in USD. So that's one component driver. If the rate of the Naira suddenly goes from about 1,400 that it is today, if suddenly it hits 3,000 next year, then there will be a commensurate increase in the price because that underlying driver is what is driving one element of the cost. That's one. We don't control that, but we project stability over the next 5 years in the exchange rate. So we don't expect that's going to happen. That's point number one. Point number two, the other major driver is the physical building. Now, what we do with our physical buildings, the way we pay our landlords, if we pay them per child. So we've done it in such a way where we say that when we take over a building from a landlord, we don't pay them like an annual rent because those annual rents are always prone to that they always increase. And so when they keep on increasing their rents, then the schools then are forced to increase their fees. So we say no. The way we solve that problem is we pay you per child. We're like a partnership. So we pay them already a lot more than the cost of just renting the building. The reason why we do that is not because we're stupid, it's so that we can get stability for like 5 years at a time. So we say, right, we're doing a deal with you. We're going to fill your building. You're going to be making twice as much as what you would be making if you rented the building out. Therefore, you don't have any reason or any need to raise your prices, at least for the next 5 years. You can't tell me, oh, sorry, sir, that 10K per child you're paying me per month now. Now it's too small. Now it has to be 20K. Because that's what then forces the drive up of fees. So what we've done is we've identified the key drivers of cost. Number one is buildings. That's the big cost. School fees go up because of building costs, and they go up in terms of the rent. And in our case, it would be the actual cost of delivering the lessons. We expect both of those things to remain stable. We even ignore local inflation. So we don't even take into account inflation. What we simply say is, because we incur our cost in AI tokens to teach the kids, so long as the exchange rate between the Naira and the dollar remains within a certain bound, that price doesn't go up. Number one. Number two, the deal that we've done with our locations, there is no justifiable reason why that fee suddenly needs to go up over the next 5 years. So we say no, and those are the two major drivers. So to answer your question, the answer is no. Our entire business model is specifically aimed at reducing the cost of education by at least 65%. That's actually what our vision is. In fact, our strategy is very simple. We're going to dominate the market by being the highest quality, lowest cost provider, but we won't just be like 10% cheaper. We want to be 70% cheaper. We want our costs, our price to be lower than the cost of any school. We want to have 1 million students in Lagos alone attending our institution. We want to have 5 million students in Nigeria alone attending our institution. Why? Because this business is not really just about this business. I have a group of companies, and the vision is really more of a developmental economic vision. If you look at the business plan of the Solynta Group, it is we are running a developmental economic project. It's based on a simple statement. I, Uwe Ugono, believe that I know how to fix poverty in Africa. And here's how I'm going to do it. The policy is very, very simple. What you need, if you combine high education standards with technology, you can create economic value. And we're creating businesses to actually enable that and see that. So what I'm trying to do is to get as many people as possible over a longitudinal period, 20, 25 years, to go through our program, and then we track their progress from their program. What did they go on to do? Did they go on to build companies? Did they go on to invent new medicines? What did they do? And after 20 to 25 years, we'll be able to say, yes, it is true. Here is a new economic policy of development that the whole world should be doing. The contribution of Nigerians to the overall study of economics has told us that, indeed, if you combine technology with education and you're able to innovate to make the cost as low as possible, because of course, Pareto's principles apply. If you make the cost, as Jevons paradox applies, if you lower the cost of something valuable, more people use it. And so it would be completely counterproductive for us to start jacking up prices, because when you jack up prices, you drive customers away. If we want to be able to do massive longitudinal studies where half the population has been through this process, we have to get the price down. So our entire business model is all about making the price of education as low as it can be, utilizing technology so that the highest number of people in that country can actually use it. And then you will now see the whole economy begin to rise. So that's what we're actually trying to do. So the issue of price, I'm so glad you asked the question. It is at the very heart of what we do. So to answer your question, absolutely not. We clap when we see local schools, like my child's former school, for example. This time 2 years ago, when she was entering JSS 1, I won't put the name of the school, literally September 2024, I remember it like it was yesterday, the school fees for term 1 for JSS 1 was 550,000 naira. Next month, that same fee is 1.2 million. I just smile and laugh. I'm like, don't worry. Within 3 years, all of your students will be with us.
Okay, thank you so much. I really applaud your innovations. And I have 2 questions and 2 in 1 question. I'm so sorry I'm asking questions because I want to be sure of what I'm bumping into. Now, the question I want to ask in the school bus, I live in Ago, I stay in Ago Palace Way in Lagos, Nigeria,
Yes.
close to Festac. So I want to know the place that you people have your center where I can put in my child, and that is 1. Second question is, do you people offer feeding? You understand, like, you know, there are some schools that offer, like the school I attend, my child attend, they offer feeding. You understand, you pay money, they give you food, the children they prepare food for them and all that. Do you people offer it? Yes or no? So that I will know whether I will be giving my child food to school. So that's what I'm asking. Thank you so much.
Yes, the answer is yes and yes. So like I said, we have another business where what we do, we basically match needs to service providers. So whether you need transportation, we can provide that. Whether you need food, feeding, we can provide that. So the answer is yes. We're a group of companies. Solynta Academy is one of the group of companies we have. We also have a company called Solynta Flow, where we basically match buyers and sellers. So in terms of transportation, you can move. We will sort that out for you. And in terms of food, if you want someone to be providing food to the child, either the person at the site can do it, or we have a service provider who comes in and provides that on a menu basis, and you obviously pay your order up front, and it goes that way. We don't take any money out of this. I don't know what the prices are yet, so of course I'll have to just confirm, and then we'll let you know at the time.
You've not given me the location where the school might be.
Yeah, so we actually do have a location in that Festac Agro Palace area. I would need to check. I don't have it in front of me right now, but if you could just drop your details in the chat, I will get one of our staff just to reach out to you and tell you exactly where it is. But I know for a fact we have a location in that Agro Palace area and Festac area.
Okay, please, when you are dropping a chat, please tell the person to give me the breakdown of the school bus and the amount for the feeding. And our advice, if it shouldn't be the local one, it should be somebody that will be well, as in that particular direction. Maybe probably they will be bringing and cooking the food there or something like that. I don't know, but just the cheap.
So again, I won't know that yet. We just have to kind of put it out there and see, but we'll let you know.
Okay.
So
okay.
Please just drop. Please, if you could just drop in the chat, if you could just drop your name, your location. I don't need your full address, but just your nearest landmark. That's how we will match. Yes. Yeah, your name, your phone number, and your nearest landmark to you, and then that's what we will then use to calculate what the nearest location is to your place.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your questions. I'm very grateful.
No problem.
Okay, awesome. So, Anita, could you come in now, please? Sorry for the delay, Anita. If you're there, could you still come in, please?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hello, here.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Right, so I have been taking notes based on the questions that parents have had, and I think that rather than just share a general experience, I will just speak to the questions that parents seem to have that I can answer from my perspective as a parent. I'm just going to start with the accent problem. So that won't affect your child at all because Mr. Ovier is not the person teaching them, right? They have coaches and guides who are all Nigerian, and the main tutor is the AI tutor. Mr. Ovier is just the CEO. He doesn't actually work with the child. That's one. And regarding the GCSE, I think someone asked about how. I think somebody asked about how the students are prepared for GCSEs, and I just wanted to say that aside from the 1-year program, the day-to-day, actually, the day-to-day lessons, the manner in which it is, what's the word? The manner in which it is given, the way the lessons are given, the way that the questions and tests and exams are created, actually informally prepares the students for GCSEs, because I remember I reviewed the exams for my brother, who's a student here. I reviewed all his exam questions, and I saw that the questions were phrased exactly in the same way that GCSE questions are phrased, causing them to apply critical thinking and not just memorize, which is a core aspect, one of the core differences in the curriculum, right? So aside from the 1-year program, your child is also better off when they're ready to take the GCSEs after they have been studying at Solynta Academy, because they are then used to answering questions in that way. They're used to applying critical thinking, and so those exams are no longer so alien to them. And I'm talking from the perspective of parents whose child is using the Nigerian curriculum. So even with the Nigerian curriculum, the questions, the lessons are still arranged in a way that prepares that child for um, GCSEs, SATs, and so on. All right. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is sort of to respond to the parents who was concerned about children falling behind, and that's not possible. So the reason why I put my brother into Solynta Academy is specifically because he was behind, not because he's not smart, but because he wasn't getting the attention that he needed, which is why we've stuck with Solynta Academy. I believe that personalized learning is really the only way to get a child to excel in whichever field they choose. Now, that's how Solynta Academy works. They're not learning at the same pace as everyone else. They are, first of all, whatever subjects they pick in the morning, when they wake up in the morning, open up the timetable and start a lesson, whatever lesson they starts from from what they know. I think each lesson starts with a sort of test to test your level, your abilities, right? The child's abilities, the child level on that particular topic, and then the lesson is then carried out based on the results of the test. So, like you said, say the topic for the day is algebra. It starts with a test, and when you respond to that test, they then know the system then knows if you should start from learning about integers or fractions or addition and subtraction and or multiplication and division, right? And then your child is taught based on that. So even if the background is missing, even if the what's the word, foundation is missing, your child can very easily catch up. And the lesson really doesn't end until your child understands. At first, I would watch my brother, and I'd ask a couple of times, "Are you still on math?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm still on math." And it would be like 2 hours, and then I realized that what was going on was that he wasn't getting, because he wasn't getting something. The lesson had taken him all the way back to the foundation that he needed, and so that was what he was working on. And so I saw that it takes a very long time sometimes based on the child's level, right? But the whole point, which is the whole point of education, is that the child actually learns. And so at the end of that long lesson, he's like, "Oh, I get it now." And that's what we're looking for, right? That's what we want. And yeah, so I don't think it's possible for any child to fall behind in personalized learning, because with personalized learning, because it's tailored to just that child, not just their level, but also the way that they learn. So also the AI tutor also studies the child's way of learning, the way that they interpret things, the way that they assimilate things, and begins to teach them in that way. So there's literally no chance that your child won't succeed. And I say this knowing that there are no dumb children. Such a thing does not exist. There's no child who just doesn't know anything. They haven't been taught. They haven't been taught the right way. And so if you're worried about your child falling behind, I think you should get started and see exactly how it works. And like I've explained, you'll find your child, you just get to witness those aha moments where they're like, "Oh wow, okay, so this is what I was missing. Okay, I get it now. Okay, I can do more of this now." So yeah. The next thing I wanted to talk about was sequential learning. So they're not just picking up from the middle of the subject, they're starting from where your child they're going. So it's like a ladder. Let's think of it like a ladder. And your child starts at the bottom rung or at the middle rung based on what they know. And they take it one step after the other, and gradually they get to the top, which is where they have fully understood that topic or that subject. And that's how it works. So they're not just, starting in the middle, say, okay, he's in JSS3, but he doesn't understand JSS3 math. That's fine. There's a process, right? There's a process to every single math subject, every English subject, topic, or science topic has its roots in something that they did in primary school or something. And sequential learning really means that they just go step by step by step until they get to the apex of that topic, and you can be sure that the child has understood it. Now that is, yeah, that's the end of my list. But I just wanted to say that we've been with Solynta Academy since last year, and I have zero regrets. I pulled my brother out of physical school some time ago because he just could not follow what was going. He needed to learn a different way. He needed the opportunity to really deep dive into a topic in order to understand it. The pace in class was way too fast and just not inclusive enough for him. We don't have that problem now. We don't. Just by using the Solynta Academy, we have spotted where his learning I wouldn't say difficulties, just where his learning challenges are. And now we know how to deal with them. We know how to handle those things. I know exactly how he needs to study. I know exactly what he needs, the kind of environment he needs, because I can see that. The system shows you that. You get to check the back end, the records that shows you exactly how your child is performing. So you can pinpoint exactly where the problem is and where they're excelling. It helps you to direct your child properly. It helps you to encourage your child, motivate your child properly. So I think that's pretty much it. We don't use the physical location. We homeschool, right? But I know that that's not for everybody. So I don't have any feedback regarding the physical locations, but I would say that what matters the most is the system, the Solynta Academy platform. That's the most important thing that you need to know about. And I can tell you that it is effective. It is effective because it is built on the core principle that personalized learning is the best way to get a child to succeed. And over the years, we have seen that be true. Like from decades ago, the wealthy people so many years ago would have their children taught by tutors at home, and they were taught specifically on the things that were their strengths, the things that they were interested in, the things that and also in the way that worked for them. And that's how the children of the wealthy seem like they do exceptionally. It's not a money thing, it's simply personalized learning. And what this platform has done is to give you personalized learning at an affordable rate. Thankfully, we have AI, which sort of decentralizes things. So you don't have to go to one location, you don't have to hire one particular tutor. You don't have to do any of those things. You have access to the same things, the same curriculum, the same textbooks, the same knowledge base that the children of wealthy people, students in China, students in the US and the UK have access to. And that's just the beautiful thing about it. That's all. Thank you very much, everyone.
Good morning,
Awesome.
everyone.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Anita. That was very that was good. It's always good to hear for people to hear from actual students, sorry, actual parents, and talking about how it actually works. I'd like to bring in now Mr. Obinel. For those who joined at the beginning, you've seen him already. Obinel is one of our teachers for our online school, and he's a really great person to speak to to get the practical reality of what it looks like. Now, even though he's online, that system is what will be happening offline as well. So he's just doing it online for the online kids, what the physical teachers on the physical sites will also be doing. So I think he's a really great person to kind of speak to from a practical point of view, as in what the kids actually do, what are the things he normally has to kind of like manage, etc. And he does it exceptionally well. So, Obina, if you can just come in and just share your wealth of knowledge about what it's actually been for these last few years or whatever the case may be, in terms of actually teaching these kids and let them know, if from a practical point of view, what a school day looks like, what the typical challenges are, how we resolve them, all the different games you guys play, everything. Come on, Obina.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I won't take much of your time. In the interest of time, I would like to be brief. My name is Obina Opara. I'm actually a coach with Solynta Academy. I help coach the students. I guide them on how to use the platform in case they're having challenges. We're always there. I actually work with others, but they are not here now. We are always dedicated to making sure that they get the best out of the system. One unique thing about Solynta is that it offers personalized lessons to the students, which means that for each lesson that a child takes, the child is being assessed as to get the child's level of knowledge regarding the particular topic that is being delivered. And this is very important. Why is that so? In a conventional school environment, the lessons are generalized in the sense that, for instance, if I have about, say, 20 students in classroom, and I'm seeing it from my teaching experience actually. If you have 20 students in classroom and I want to teach maths, I want to teach a particular topic, say, for instance, quadratic equation, for example, you agree with me that it's not every child in that class of 20 students that will understand what quadratic equation really is at the very first time it's been taught. Some may understand, some may not. So how do you manage it when you have this disparity in understanding and the lessons are just delivered generally? At the end of 40, 45 minutes or maximum 1 hour, the teacher delivers these are lessons and just steps off the class. You realize that you find students struggling to understand what is being taught. But what do we do as Solynta? The AI trains the child. It diagnoses the child's level of knowledge regarding that particular subject domain, that particular topic. After that, it will now understand what content to deliver to that particular child that will suit the child. Now, it doesn't matter whether the child understands the topic or not. If say a child does not understand quadratic equation, for instance, it may take the child back to linear equation before now progressing to the quadratic equation, which is what is actually being taught. And it's important to know, just like what the last speaker said, most great people were actually taught at home. I think I can remember people like the Aristotle thereabout, they all had tutors at home. So Solynta is delivering a high quality service at a very cheaper cost. And just like the CEO has said, what they're looking at is a system where people can afford quality technology with minimal or with very minimal cost. So that is what we do at Solynta Academy. It's a very nice innovation. Kudos to the CEO. Thank you very much. I really wish I was exposed to this kind of technology during my time. I would have known a lot of things, but this is what we do every day. And what the day-to-day activity looks like in Solynta, this is a very interesting setting where we have students join the classroom, just like where we are here online. And the students, each and every one of them logs into their dashboard. So they have their dedicated dashboard which shows them their progress and what they are supposed to do for the day. So at the end of every lesson, the lesson is being submitted and a note is automatically generated. So your child is not bored with the activity of maybe copying down notes. No, that's not what we do here. We make them to focus on what is being delivered, because at the end of the day, when the notes are being generated, the child can always make reference to the notes when he or she is free. And they can learn on the go, whether you're traveling overseas or you're within the country during holidays, the child can always learn on the go. So that is another unique thing about Solynta Academy. We also have extracurricular activities that we do partake in with our students, like we have chess club, also have Scrabbles. I think we do that once a week in order to get the students, get used to some of these card games, and it will help their critical thinking and learning abilities. So yes, that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Abhinav. That was really good. If anyone has some questions for Abhinav, you feel free to just ask him. What I would kind of say generally is Abhinav has been exceptional. You know, he came in last year, was our first year online, and this is new. No one's ever done this in Nigeria before, and a lot of what the way we operate were things that he basically brought in. Of course, he came in with guidance as to how things should work and what the system is. But he's really been able to create a tremendous system within the online school, to the point where even though the kids are in different locations, they actually know each other, they're friends with each other, there's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of communication. And as a founder of a business that is essentially something that I've had in my mind since 2017, it's been really gratifying seeing the vision I've had for so many years actually come to fruition, and see someone like Obina be able to come in and bring in his skills to be able to bear with these kids, and then seeing how the kids are actually improving. So you realize it works on paper, but it needs to work in practice. And to see that this works so well has been really, really gratifying. So, Obina, I just want to say thank you. You and Emmanuel have done a tremendous job with the kids. And like I said, we want parents to really understand that this problem of education has been solved. This issue of paying massive school fees and sleepless nights when August comes along because the next batch of fees are coming your way, doesn't have to be that way. We've actually solved the problem. This is 10x educational improvement at less than half the price, almost 70% off. So I will urge everybody, just give it a try. Just try us for one term. What you're going to realize is that the level is so much higher than what you get in the regular school. You will never be able to go back to a regular school. And what we've done is we realized that you can't, you have to combine both high quality and low cost. Because if you make it expensive, well, then you kind of destroy the whole vision in the first place. So you have to basically make it cheap. Now, the only way that could have been done was I had to literally build the software myself. Why? Because then I could give it away for free. Because there's no way I could have gone and had to raise a couple $1 million, get a team to build it and run it for me, and then charge these prices. No chance, it's not possible. But this is only possible because, as I explained before, this is really part of a much bigger project of developmental economics in real life. So we were able to build the software and then just give it away for free. So we now run it at no extra cost. That's why it's so cheap, because we want to help to develop our country. And parents, it really, really works. I will urge all of you, just give it a try and just see it works. So if you have any questions for Obina, please just do feel free to ask him. Otherwise, you should probably start to wrap up now because it's been over an hour and a half now.
Hello, good morning. I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. I sent it as a text message, but it hasn't been addressed. So I was quite impressed with what I've heard so far. I believed it's not just saying it's like that, because seeing is believing. Though I'll try and go to the weather center and checked out things myself. But with what I have heard, I'm convinced that you guys are really doing very well. My question is, the word Solynta, what's the meaning?
It has no meaning. It's Solynta is basically the name of our brand. So I started, it's a long story, but when I first came to Nigeria, I came to Nigeria in 2013, and I started a company called Solynta Energy, which we still own. It's a solar energy company. And where I got the name from for Solynta, again, it's a bit of a long story. 2 years prior to that, in 2011, 2012, I actually moved to the United States. I started a company out there called You Include Me, and I was there for several months. And this was during the time of Barack Obama's presidency. And there was this major case at the time, and it was all about this company called Solindra. And the company called Solindra, this company was a company that the federal government had given like $800 million to. They had this special kind of solar panel that they were doing, and the company eventually went bust. And at the time when I got there, it was all in the news, and they were trying to use it to attack Barack Obama. I was in Georgia, which is a Republican state, so it was all about trying to attack him. But there was something about that name, Solindra. I just really loved the name of the company, and I said to myself, when I start my own solar company, I had a plan to start a solar company in Nigeria from about 2008, from my days at CFO at HSBC. I said, that's what I'm going to call my company. I'm going to name it something along the lines of Cylindra. And when I started the company, I just thought Solynta, and that was and the name basically stuck. And ever since then, when we build up more companies, we stick to the Solynta brand because we've been running the company for so long. We have so many customers, people know us, and so we found that let's just create the Solynta brand. And the Solynta brand essentially stands for two things. It basically stands for we're all about energy and intelligence.
Okay.
Why? Because energy and intelligence are the two drivers of all human civilization. The difference between us living in caves 10,000 years ago and living the way we live today is just two things: intelligence and energy. So we are the intelligence and energy group. So everything that we do is one of those two things. It's all about human development. So we provide solar power, energy, power homes, power people's lives, reading, commerce, etc. And we provide intelligence. And our intelligence business is basically split into kind of three arms. One is what we call human intelligence, biological intelligence, i.e. education. That's Solynta Academy. And then we have what we call the artificial intelligence, enhanced intelligence, which is our tools around Solynta Flow and Solynta Talent, which are all aimed at taking people who are already adults, who you can't really increase their IQ anymore, but say, right, but if I give you the tools that give you an enhanced level of IQ and intelligence, if you embed those tools into your existing workflows for your business, for example, you're going to produce more, be more productive, and make more money. So that, in a nutshell, is what Solynta basically stands for.
Okay. All right. I must say I'm impressed with your words. It's just for me to see the physical reality of things, because I've heard a lot. I've heard what you said. I just believe all you said is true. So I would like to have a better contact. I'd like to visit the center and have physical interaction with the people I will meet there, so that I really know what I'm embarking on.
Of course.
I've asked for the breakdown, the school bus, and everything.
Yes. Have I responded to you? I think I sent a message. I think I responded to you about this.
I was asked to drop to my number, which I've done. So
okay,
I'm just
good. So we'll get back to you. So this is in real time. Forgive me.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, this is in real time, and there are lots of messages. I probably would have missed it. But yeah, if you've already dropped a number, somebody will definitely contact you to let you know what your nearest location is, and we'll take it from there. Because bear in mind, we're covering all of Lagos, so we have different locations. So, and I don't know Lagos so well, so I need to kind of go back and check and ask my staff and all the rest of this. But we'll get back to you for sure.
No problem.
Okay, actually,
okay.
Hello.
Sorry?
Okay, I actually concord with what Miss Ifeanyi said, because I wanted to go to the location, see how, because I like everything that you said. It's actually wonderful, but sometimes we Nigerians always believe in physical things.
Exactly.
Because so many people have been scammed. They'll just come, send their marketers, and their marketer will say, well, if you come to that place is touch not and all that. And you are believing on the hype of what they say. At the end of the day, when you get to the place, it's like even the place they put for center is rubbish. It's not the environment, they have environmental hazard and all that. So sometimes we need to go there, ask questions, see the place, know whether it's conducive for the children.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And watch the manner of approach. Because some schools, they say they don't touch children, but when the children comes by, they say the teacher slaps me, the teacher do this, do that, and all that. So we do need to see what you're talking about, so that we'll know that when we get there, it's not AI, that you're talking through AI, why reality is saying the other opposite of it.
Exactly.
So
well noted. That's absolutely fine. You know, what I would say, I want to make a comment to that is absolutely true. You know, we had a team meeting just yesterday, and Obino, I think, was on the call, or I said Trish was on the call, and I can attest to this. I made this very point, and what I said was, guys, right now, it's quite hard work trying to persuade large numbers of Nigerian parents, because we get these comments all the time. This is Nigeria. You know what Nigeria is like. They will say it's like this, but it's really like that. We had the parents come to them and visit us in our place yesterday. Same thing. And I always make the same point. I say, guys, Far from being disappointed by that, rejoice. I said, you know why? I said, because it's a high fence. There's a high fence to scale. Once you scale that fence, we will own the market. Because I'm from the UK. I'm not born and raised in Nigeria. One thing I know about Nigeria is that talk is plentiful, action is non-existent. And I always tell people when I kind of speak to young business people, I say, listen, making it to Nigeria is very easy. It's hard in the beginning, but it's very easy. All you have to do is deliver. That's it. Just deliver. Just yesterday, I said to my guys, I said, I guarantee you within a decade you have 1 million students. I guarantee you we become the standard of education in Nigeria. I said these very words yesterday. I said what we're doing is we're turning education into a commodity. We had a parent who came over with their family. Was it yesterday? I think to come and see the center. I want to be starting next month. And I said to them, I said, listen, I said to the father, I said, let me ask you a question, sir. I said, when you go and buy fuel, how much is fuel right now? He goes, oh, maybe 1.3. I said, so you know the price, right? He said, yes. I said, are there different companies everywhere that sell? He said, yes. I said, but you know the price, right? I said, yes. I said, if you saw a place that was selling fuel at 2,000 naira, will you buy? He goes, of course not. I said, exactly. I said, we are going to do to education what you see in commodity businesses. We're going to commoditize education. What does that mean? When you turn something into a commodity, you essentially remove all price variability. You make it easy for people to be able to say, I want this and this is what I get. When you go to the filling station and you buy a liter of fuel is a liter of fuel. So long as it's not adulterated and it's genuine fuel, it does the same thing for your tank. It's the same. Whether I buy from Owando or whether I buy from MRS or whoever, it doesn't really matter. The fuel is fuel. What we are doing is we are commoditizing world-class education. And we're commoditizing it in a localized fashion. This is our business model. It's commoditized education. What we're saying is every location has to be up to standard, up to scratch. We have a standardized way in which every location is done. Think of Chicken Republic or Burger King, or if you're from the UK or America, KFC or McDonald's. Every McDonald's you go into is owned by someone else. So
Yes.
they're a franchise, right? The franchise is identical. Whether you go into a McDonald's in New York City or in Atlanta or Miami, they operate in exactly the same way. They have the same structure in place. That's what we're doing with Solynta Academy. So your experience as a parent and as a student will be identical regardless of where you are. That's really what we've done. And the plank of that is the software. So once you have a software, an AI that repeats at the same level 1 million times out of 1 million, you have created the floor. So you say, it doesn't matter where your child is, whether you're in a village in Borno State, whether you're in a Sokoro in Abuja, whether you're in Ikoyi in Lagos, whether you're in Ikorodu in Lagos, it doesn't matter. If your child is learning off Solynta Academy, they are learning at the level of a child who's learning in Manhattan. It makes no difference. So we've solved the single biggest problem in education, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. That is very variable level of academic delivery. If you live in a village, the teachers basically can barely read themselves. Even in Lagos, unless your child goes to a Green Springs or one of these big schools that's charging millions per term, they're being taught absolute garbage and you're paying for the nose for it. That nonsense is what we've basically eliminated. Now, that's the first part, is the learning. Second part is the physical location, the environs. Our motto is very simple. We believe that schooling is going to be delivered through what we call micro centers. Micro centers where a child goes to, where eventually you'll be able to walk to your nearest center. Our vision is that in Lagos, within the next 5 years, every single Lagosian is going to have a Solynta Academy Learning Center within 2 kilometers of them. Every single person. You're about to walk in area center, they'll be everywhere. They'll be run out of school buildings, they'll be run out of church halls, they'll be run out of people's homes, but the standard will be exactly the same. Every center will have a teacher overseeing students. That's a safe, secure environment. The kids are going to have their devices, they're going to be learning off of AI, and it's going to be a repeatable system across the board. When you go to any of our sites, you're going to see that. As we begin to expand our footprint, we hope to start with at least 10 centers next month. We're going to continue to expand and expand and expand and expand. And what you will see is we're ferocious marketers online. You'll see, when you see footage from the different centers, they're all going to look the same. Because what you do, you create a standard that every single center must meet. One big difference though, because we're in Nigeria, we don't run these as franchises. Every single location is company owned and run. Because sadly, I just don't trust Nigerians to be able to run it to the standard that I need it to be run to. I hate to say it, I love Nigeria, I'm a Nigerian, but it's the truth. So every single center is run by the company itself. We administer the whole thing via WhatsApp. Just via WhatsApp, you select your center, it's done. No email is missed, no message is missed, no booking is missed. There's no single time you try to reach out to us, you don't get a response straight away. We have digitized and automated the entire operation like a military precision, end to end, precisely for the reason that you have given. Why are we doing this? Because we understand that this is perhaps the biggest untapped opportunity in Africa. Whoever solves the problem of upskilling the average African will become the most impactful African to have ever lived thus far. If you solve that problem, you've solved Africa's poverty problem. There is a reason why Africa is so poor. It's lack of development. Why? Lack of education. Why? Lack of organization, lack of finances, lack of resources, culture, lack of basic skills, lack of access to technology. These are all the things that we're dealing with. This system solves that problem. I really hope to see you go to those centers and report back and say, here's what this is. One thing I can tell you, madam, I'm a ruthless operator. My staff can tell you, this is my friendly face. I don't tolerate errors or mistake or shortcoming. I don't tolerate it. I take it personally. If ever you go to any of our sites and something is amiss, please just report it. There will be all hell to pay, because I won't tolerate it, because what we're fighting for here is not money. We're fighting to raise the name of our people, to know that we Africans can contribute to human evolution, to human development, not be the poorest people in the world, where we make up the poorest 10% of the world is Africa. The only part of the world that is still poor is Africa. That's not right. Everywhere else has come out of poverty. In 1979, China was poorer than Africa. Today, China is the second richest country in the world. We're still languishing in basic poverty. We still have open ditches and gutters everywhere. People are still urinating along the side of the street like animals. We can change all of this. What we have to do, you have to raise the level of IQ and education and skills of the average, not of the rich, because we've always had very bright, very smart, rich Nigerians, because they've had access to quality education. They go to the top schools locally that all teach a foreign curriculum. And the moment they finish, off they go out the country, and most of them never come back. So we've had this brain drain going on for 40 years. No wonder things are the way they are. That's why you want to get basic healthcare. That what do? You go to India, or you go to the UK. You dare not go to a local hospital, because they might overdose you and kill you. We know what the problems are, and it stems from education. That's what this is all about, madam. And I want to assure you, this is a mission that we intend to fulfill. We will fulfill it. And the impact, the KPIs that I measure this company on are not financial. No, they're impact-based. This is about development. What is the impact? If we educate 1 million people, we expect to see these increments in GDP over the next 5 years. We expect to see out of our cohort X percentage started new companies in the tech sector, in manufacturing, in farming. We saw outputs begin to rise. These number of jobs began to go up. GDP began to increase by these figures. We're tracking this every day. Because my ambition is not finance related. It isn't. I feel reluctant to say what I'm really fighting for. But let me assure you, the thing I'm fighting for is not money. No, it's much bigger than that. So I assure you, madam, if you see any issues, let me know. Thank you, guys.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, UVA. Thank you so much. Yesterday I saw a short video from Reverend Sam Adeyemi, and he was talking about being able to sell your vision. If you're a visionary, if you're someone who God has put an idea in your mind, you should have the capacity to sell that vision. And I'm sold. You've sold it to me, and I'm buying. I'm totally buying because I'm one who have also sat and seen our education system deteriorate. At the time I went to secondary school, I went to a federal government secondary school, and education was still high up there. But right now, I can't send my child to a federal government secondary school. Even though I have children still in primary, but I can't do that. And the one thing I know I can do very well is to pray. And I see God raising you as a solution to the educational problem that we have in Nigeria. So I am sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. I have dropped my details in the chat box. I'm looking forward to joining this session because I've seen not only physically, but also in the spirit. And I want to believe that you're a believer because, I've gone to research you. While I'm listening, I've read a bit of things about you, and you have done commendable and remarkable work in this country. Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I see in my kids prophetically what they will be. And when you see something, the next thing you need to receive from the Spirit of God is actionable steps. And this, enrolling my kids in Solynta Academy, is going to be the actionable step that I have to take to get my children to where God has already ordained them to be. So this is just to say to parents who are listening, this is answer to prayers. If you've been praying for Nigeria, if you ever pray for Nigeria, this is answer to the prayers that you've been praying, that our children will be taught of the Lord so that they can bring peace to this land. A very fundamental problem that we have in Nigeria is a comprehension problem, and comprehension comes from lack of education. Comes from lack of education. And when we have a well-educated population, things will change. The change that we're looking for will. Everything. There will be an easy mind shift. Ideas will come up. We will move. Every nation that has grown and developed did it with education. And it started with people who had visions and ideas from heaven. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Uvier.
Thank you, sir.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. I'm so grateful. Thank you, sir.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.